look who it is, ladies and gentlemen. Craig Pasta Jardula back. I wanted to have this interview with this guy over here about a couple months ago to ask him what the heck is going on with his party. Man, oh man. Look, I met him. I saw him at the convention. We had some conversations. We're going to talk a little bit about Israel, Palestine, because it is the 1 year. I don't want to say the word anniversary because that doesn't sound right, Larry. You're a true non-interventionist. Obviously, I think you have some feelings and some opinions about what's going on with Israel, Gaza. So let's start with there, and then we'll work our way backwards. Let's leave 10 minutes at the end so I can bash on the Libertarian Party and the nonsense.
As you always seem to do.
No, I don't. I try to listen. First of all,
whenever you're with me, you always
I pay
punish
close
me.
attention.
You always punish me. You do.
Well, I do. Well, I punish you for bad choices, like still standing behind the whole Malay thing. You don't need a year right now. We can see what's going on. I don't want to talk about that. Hey, I like to bag on the differences, but I was always open to looking at the Libertarian Party. I went to your convention this year.
You did.
I talked to you about it a lot. We interviewed you. If I wanted to find something out about the Libertarian Party, I listened to what somebody said. Just go ask Larry. Ask Larry for advice, and Larry will give you the advice on what's going on.
True.
Like I said, we'll sidebar that for a second.
That's another show if you want. It's all good.
Yeah, well, I want to stick with Israel Gaza right now because it is the 1 year.
Let's do that.
Look, I might be voting Libertarian. I might. I don't know, right? And the reasons why I think you'll back, and we'll talk about this in a second. Then we'll talk about the horrible decisions by your chair and some of the leaders in the Libertarian Party who have lost their mind. Let's talk about Israel Gaza, though. It's a year out right now. It's almost become normalized, Larry, on TV that we'll see children laying underneath the rubble. We saw an attack, a retaliation by Iran. They hit military facilities. Russia has been very careful with their attacks on Ukraine not to just wipe the place out. They can take them out in 1 second. They can wipe Kiev off the map. They haven't done so. We see the United States. We see Israel. Israel has something called the Dahaya Doctrine. It's part of their policy in which they can terrorize civilian populations. It's a year out, and none of this is slowed down. In fact, it's expanded. Your thoughts on what we see in Israel, Gaza today?
Well, I don't like you kind of sounded like one side's good and one side's bad. I don't think the Ukrainians are any better than the Russians. I don't believe that at all. I think both sides are doing whatever they think they can to fight their war. And when wars go on for long periods of time, which is why I hate them so much, people become brutal. That's what happens. It doesn't matter what country you're from. It doesn't matter where you are from. When wars go on for long times, people become brutal. That's what happens on both sides. Ukrainians will become brutal too. They've shot Russians. Russians have become brutal too. I'm not saying the origins of the war. I'm not discussing that. I'm talking about people fighting wars. When people fight wars for long periods of time, they become brutal. That's how it works. Violence begets violence. It's one of the reasons why I can't stand it. So just want to be clear. I'm not making either side, blameless on this. That makes any sense. But when it comes to the idea of us keep fighting, I think we've made a situation to where there's almost no way of stopping. I remember, I never forgot this piece. Have you ever seen the TV show from the book, The Man in the High Tower? Not The Man in the High Castle. Have you seen that? It's I think Amazon Prime. I think it's about a book. It's based on a book where in this alternate universe, the Germans actually win World War II, and when they win World War II, America actually becomes like a colony of the Greater German Empire, right? So when that happens, one of the Americans becomes like head of like the Germans here in America. And his wife is like, stop, what are you doing? This is terrible, stop. And he says, I don't know how. And I think there are a lot of people who are in these middle areas and who don't even know anymore. They have no idea even how to stop anymore. And if you're Israel right now, I am not saying Israel's correct. But if you're Israel right now, partly to what your previous guest said, time is not on your side. You have to rush to get things done because time's not on your side. You're a reserve army and you're outnumbered in many ways. If you don't push now and take advantage of American support, if you don't push now and take advantage of the timing, you're not going to get your military goals done. So Israel is really behind. They're under the gun here. That's why they're moving so fast. That's why they have to move fast. I understand this logically why they would do so. And that's why you're seeing what they're doing.
Well, what do you think their military goals are? I mean, I think this is the difference, too, between maybe my rhetoric and your rhetoric, is that there is one side to blame. There's one side who instigated. There's one side who's pushed for this. There's one side who wanted this. The other side is just playing in defense. I mean, I had this argument with a lot of libertarian friends of mine about the Russia-Ukraine situation. There's something called Minsk 1, Minsk 2. There's NATO, pouring gasoline on the fire, having a puppet government on the border of Russia. What do you expect Russia to do? The same thing that's going on with the Palestinians, the Lebanese now, and the Iranians. This is a war that Israel won. So my question to you is, what do you think Israel's military goals were from the beginning to right now?
Sure. I think Israel is trying to make itself, the current government believes that if it can push away more and more space, create more and more buffer zones, control more and more resources, that solidifies Israel for the future. I'm not saying they're correct. You asked what I think they believe. I think that's honest. I think they honestly believe that. I think they believe that if we don't do this, that eventually our Jewish nation will collapse. That's what I think they believe. They want a Jewish nation. They want to make sure it survives. They believe they have to have buffer zones and resources to do so, and they're prepared to fight to do so. That's what I think they want to do. They want to have security. They would like to. And to be forward, you can just blame Israel if you want, just fine. But you know what? We're not helping. America's not helping. America's making things worse too. And so others, right? Why aren't, I'll give you the biggest issue that I bring up all the time. And that piece is when the people in Gaza could move, when there was a chance for them to actually move, the world said, we can't move them. That is morally bad. That is ethnic cleansing. We can't do that. Don't do it. And my answer was, it's that or eventually they fight again. And they went, but no, it's morally wrong. We have to push the Jewish state into X, Y, or Z. You're not going to. America's going to back Israel, whatever it does. We know this. Doesn't matter what Israel does, America will back it. So you're not going to push that. So what starts happening? What happens is we knew this war was going to happen again. Gaza was going to be bombed again. It was never not going to be bombed. That's the problem. We could have fixed it, but we say, oh, no, we can't fix it because if we pay them to move, that's a bad thing because that's ethnic cleansing. Well, what other option is there? Blood. That's the other option.
I think that, to be honest with you, is I had Mark Sloboda on earlier today, and he said the only choice they have is to become what the Jewish people were once before in the past. Nomads. Yes. They got to get out of there. There's nothing they can do right now.
And I'm not saying it's right. I'm pushing that. A lot of people are fighting on this. Well, the Jews are wrong. Well, the Muslims are wrong. Well, the Americans are wrong. And you're right. I don't care. I want people to stop dying, and I want to be realistic in this world. I see someone in your chat going, it's Palestinian land. I know, I got you, and it doesn't matter. And that's my point. I wish it was easy as well. That's righteous. It's not. It's not. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. They have to move. You're right. And it sucks, and it's terrible, but it's that, or we have tens of thousands of dead Palestinians. What we should have done is we should have bribed the damn Egyptians. We should have said, you got about $100 million in debt. We'll pay your debt. We give $100 million to Ukraine. We give $100 million. We give almost half of that already to Israel, whatever it is. We should have just said, hey, we'll pay your debt and we'll throw the Gazans a whole bunch of money. Let them live in your country someplace. Can we just clear this out? Can nobody die? Can just nobody die? Can we do that? And they went, no, that's ethnic cleansing. It's Palestinian land, blah, blah, blah. And now we've got tens of thousands dead.
I think a lot of people stick to the fact that they know the majority of the people don't think that Israel is the 51st state, and they don't want to see us funding any type of war abroad.
Agreed.
So I think the answer, what they want to hear was, well, if it's a representative government, which is a representative republic, you talk about this all the time. It's not a democracy.
All the time.
But if in fact it was, we were representative of the people, we just would stop funding Israel, and this would go away like that. And I think a lot of people want to see that. And I think that would be the ultimate choice. But what you're saying is not going to happen. And you're just being a pragmatic person and saying, well, I don't want to see these people die. I want to see them live. I mean, a lot of people don't know you, Larry, the way I know you. I've had so many conversations, so I know where you're coming from.
You literally just gave my opinion. Yes. Yeah. Yes. I'm saying that's not, you're right, but I don't want to virtue signal why people die. That's my issue. I don't want to virtue signal why people die. That is my problem.
So with the fact is that you're a libertarian and you believe defunding the state is the best way to go. You want less government intervention across the board. When do we start that process? When has this been a good process right now for the libertarians to hold the line and say, you know what, regardless of not, we don't like our candidate. We're going to vote for him anyways, because we're not going to vote for any pro-Zionist candidate in Donald Trump and in Kamala Harris, which I might add, Larry Sharpe, a lot of the people in your party surprisingly, are capitulating to Donald Trump. Disgusting, sad. I wish they would have had the same conversation that we had on the floor of the Libertarian Convention, which is our job right now is to increase the prospects of liberty through our voices. It's also to hold on to our ballot access. In other words, you lose the battle, but you can't give up on the war. And too many libertarians have given up on the war. And instead of going and holding their nose and voting for Chase Oliver, and instead of Angela McArdle holding her nose, walking across the aisle and shaking the hands of her opposition within her own party and saying, let's do this together, let's fix this together, she's pretty much turned her back on them and has now was promoting an event that was pro-Trump while hanging your party out to dry. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm glad you don't bias any of your questions. That's very nice. I'm glad you don't do that. Now, you biased every one of your questions, but yes, let me.
Did you not tell me on the floor of the convention the job of the Libertarian Party? You said we got to, if we want to move forward, you were pushing Lars, we have to hold on to our ballot access. Is voting for the Republican holding on the ballot access?
Here is the issue that I will tell you. You know what I did. I went there with a candidate. His name was Lars Mapstead. He was not part of any of the caucus wars. He was self-funded. He had a plan, and he had me on his ticket. And I told the Libertarian Party, you were there when I said it. I said, if you don't pick Lars, several things will happen. Number one, we will not raise even $1 million. Number two, we will come in fifth behind Jill Stein and RFK Jr. And number three, the fighting in the Libertarian Party will be legendary. And they went, we don't care. We want to fight our stupid culture war between the Mises Caucus and the CLC, which is the Classical Liberal Caucus. We would rather virtue signal than be effective. That's what they said. So now what is the Libertarian Party doing? It's virtue signaling instead of being effective. I warned them. They didn't want to hear me. That's what's happening. You were there when I said it. I said it publicly. I say it now. I have the biggest I told you so, which I'm sad. I wish I didn't have this I told you so, but it's I told you so. Everything I said is happening. Chase Oliver is not going to raise $1 million. We're going to wind up coming in fifth behind Jill Stein because Jill Stein's vote is backed by the anti-war left. And RFK Jr. is still going to get at least 1 million votes, even though he's not even on the ballot in 18 states now, whatever, 20 states. He's still going to wind up getting 1 million votes because people still love RFK Jr. So he's still going to get enough more votes. This is a disaster this year. I warned them. Now, you're saying, what is the job of the Libertarian Party? You're right. I agree. I've been running for ballot access more than anybody who's currently involved in the party. I agree with you completely. But how can you do it when the party continues to collapse and the system keeps collapsing, right? When we keep losing and getting battered and getting punched and getting kicked constantly, people begin to give up. I mean, I keep going because I'm crazy. But a lot of libertarians, they run, they realize how hard it is, and they walk away and go, I want something. They want to win. Libertarian Party has been winning arguments and losing elections for 50 years. And so we keep arguing because we keep winning those arguments, but we keep losing elections and people keep walking away. I'm not saying you're wrong. You're correct, but you make it sound too easy. It's easy to say that when you're not the guy who's getting his ass kicked, getting sued off the ballot, as I have been. When I've spent $400,000 in 2022 trying to get on the ballot in New York State, and the Republicans sued me off, and I lost. And you just saw with RFK Jr. RFK Jr., 8 lawsuits. I had 8 lawsuits, so did he. Lost every one of them. Nobody wants to put us on the ballot if you're not a member of the two-party system. So some people go, okay, I can't get on. It is impossible. I get it. Message heard. I guess I'll go Trump, or I guess I'll go Harris. And I don't know if you know this, a lot of libertarians are going Harris too. It isn't just Trump they're going. They're also going Harris. They're walking away from a party because they think the party can't function. Now, you're going to be mad at Angela. I'm going to give Angela some credit. It's going to make you angry, but I'm going to give her some credit. The reason I'm giving her some credit is she is in a horrible position. People go, well, she's the chair. It's a volunteer position. People don't get that. If you're a Democrat or Republican, you get paid 6 figures every year to do your stupid job. If you're a Libertarian, this is on her own dime. This is a volunteer position, and she's screwed. The party's cut in half. The money's drying up. People are fighting and walking away, and somehow she still managed to raise money for the party. So, and keep it together kind of in a way. The party should have exploded after 2020 and never come back. Somehow it's still around. And she, again, one more time, she is a volunteer. Craig, would you do this for free? Would you put up what she's putting up with for free? No. Everyone's like, well, someone else should be the chair. You want to do that for free? All of our members who are on our committee, they're all volunteers. The entire budget of the Libertarian Party for the entire year, the whole national, $2 million. That's maybe one Democratic candidate in one race across the country. That is how it is. We are the third largest party in this nation, and we are leaps and bounds behind the other two. It's Democrats, Republicans. Under my desk is Libertarians. That's how bad it is. So you're right, but man, you're asking a lot from someone for a volunteer.
Well, when you said the party should have been blown up in 2020, I thought that it hit a point where it should have been going into the stratosphere. Liberty was on the ballot. All the main issues from the Libertarian Party that they've been talking about for years, freedom of speech, freedom of the press, right? They've now come to the forefront. People were opening up their eyes. They were looking, they were listening. And, I don't definitely, me, I supported Angela. I always said she was the smartest, the best for so long. I was Angela McArdle crazy and stuff like that. But this whole, let's kind of bend the knee and capitulate to the Republicans. I don't think whether the position is voluntary or not, that she should do that, right? And you just do an event, Rescue the Republic, which was, I call it, I'm dubbing it Zionist Woodstock, right? Because
that's good.
That's what it was.
Funny.
Let's be honest. It was Zionist Woodstock. Every single person that I asked that came out of that speech from RFK Jr. at the Libertarian Convention, I spoke to delegates. Would you vote for him? Would you support him? No way. You didn't think it was a good speech? I thought it was a great speech. I thought he had a lot of great things to say, but you're not going to support him. No. Why? Line in the sand. Israel, Palestine. You don't do that. You know what I'm saying? And I get that.
So let me push back on this too. Let me push back on this too. All right.
Go ahead.
I'm going to go back to what I said earlier. Trump or Harris. Gaza's getting bombed. I'm not happy about that. Neither are you. That's going to happen. Israel is going to be supported. Doesn't matter. So if neither is going to be supported, let me do the best that I can, which I have two choices. I can try to make impact or I can virtue signal. One of those two. So the first answer is, okay, can I make impact someplace? Can I vote for somebody to make some impact? If I can, awesome, do it. If I can't, you pick one of the two, which what people are doing, or you virtue signal. I'm not going to vote for Trump. I wouldn't. I'm not going to vote for Harris. I'm not going to. I wouldn't do either. I was hoping I could vote for RFK Jr. in New York State. You might go, why? Because that would have given me a party in my state. I would have made impact. That's why I was pushing for people in New York State to vote for RFK Jr. so I get a party. That makes impact third party. We can move on in New York State. He got thrown off the ballot. So now I got nobody. So what am I going to do? I'll probably virtue signal vote. I'll probably write in Chase Oliver like you will. I'll probably do that because I have to virtue signal now. So again, I am pragmatic in this case, right? I am pragmatic. I know people in your chat going, what about Jill Stein? She got thrown off the ballot too in my state. Another thing, she's not in my state. They throw them off the ballot left and right. So I can't even do a Jill Stein vote. It's not a thing. I'm trying to be practical in this issue. So if you're trying to be practical, you might go, wait a minute, I am anti-war, and at least they're against kind of the other wars-ish, and that's something. But Trump and Harris are both for both wars. These other people are, at least one of them are not.
The guy who we just talked about writing it is not for both wars. That is Chase Oliver. And if you go down the list, and you see who's better for Israel, Palestine, Donald Trump or Chase Oliver, you know Chase Oliver is. I don't 100%. Like Chase Oliver on a lot of things, but if you look at it, and he's for libertarian values. The way you make an impact is to do exactly what you told me at the convention. And that's make sure you carry your ballot access, and you make sure that next time, you make sure in 2028, you have a candidate to move forward with. You don't freaking, opt out of that right away and say, because here's the thing. Whoever we vote for, we're not going to get. Our votes mean nothing. The ruling class is going to give us who they want. Column 100%. A or column B. Team red or team blue. We should reject whoever they give us that. And I would think that most of the libertarians and the people in libertarian leadership would know that. You walk across the aisle.
Most of them are.
Wait a second. You walk across the aisle. You shake his hand. He won. Why does everyone want to avoid the fact that Chase Oliver won because he deserved to win? He worked the hardest. He campaigned in 50 states. He won the debate there. He didn't have a weed, edible moment on stage like Rechtenwald did. Nobody even knew who Rechtenwald was until you got to the convention. Nobody outside the Libertarian Party there. The Mises Caucus didn't do it right. Why can't they try to repair relationships within their own party and move forward on the next election with somebody who they can really count on? I mean, really, to tell you at the end of the day, Dave Smith dragging his feet. I really wish that Angela would have went to Spike and Maj and said, hey, man, we need you to pick up the mantle over here. I think Spike Cohen would have been a great choice this
Okay,
time. He was
let me
very
touch
well
all
known.
these pieces.
You got to
Let me-
figure out a way to make things work within your own party, for crying out
It
loud.
doesn't.
Go
Okay,
ahead, Larry.
it doesn't mean we can't do that for 2028. It doesn't mean we can't. Of course we can. But I'm telling you, I know Spike was not running this year. That was not going to happen. If Spike was going to run, he would have run. It doesn't matter. Angela could have begged him. He wasn't going to run. Well, neither was Maj. I know both of these people personally. They were not going to run this. It was not going to happen. I knew Dave Smith wasn't going to run. People didn't tell me that, but I knew. I know because he's got young kids. I've been through that. I know how that works. He wasn't running. So it was obvious. That's why I presented an answer, Craig. I presented an answer. The party didn't want that. They wanted to fight each other. They wanted to do and the reason is, and this is what some people don't know, in 2022, when the Mises Caucus took over, the CLC side was livid, horrible, left, fought, tried to burn the house down. So now when it happens to them, the Mises Caucus gets mad, horrible, angry, walks. Of course, there's so much bad blood in our party. That's the problem. And what people don't get, people think, and this is, look, I'm in this, as you know, this is one thing. I'm a consultant. I know a lot of these people. I deal with this stuff. People think politics is about policy and ideas. It's petty. Policy is about, I don't like that dude. Politics is about, I think she's a bad person. She made me angry. He made me angry. That's what politics is about. Petty battles destroy massive things all the time. I see it constantly. I give people real answers. They go, yeah, but that guy's a jerk. What? Are you crazy? Happens all the time. Now, the only way you get past that is a lot of money. Money makes friends over all this stuff. Money changes everything. I hate that guy. Oh, there's 6 figures in it for me and my friends. Oh, no, I like him again. The problem is the independent parties don't have the money to make this work. They can't make it work. They don't have the cash. And again, I wish this wasn't true. I'm not happy about this. I'm telling you the facts. That's how it works. If someone would put $10 million in the Libertarian Party, we'd come together in a week. In a week, we come together because all of a sudden, everybody be getting paid. And I know that sounds terrible, but that's true. And that's really how that works. And we still can do it in 2028. It will take more time, 2026, 2028. It can be done. If there is no other large party, I think we're the only ones who can.
It's going to be interesting. To tell you the truth, I said there's stuff that happens behind closed doors, what you're explaining right now, and a lot of people don't understand that. But you also have to be careful about your public point of view or your public perception. And this last situation with Rescue the Republic was not a good perception. I mean, it was like, oh, you're having a Trump rally, but you're not getting your own guy from your own party on the stage there to talk about ending that. I mean, that's just mind blowing. You know, I mean, I had my conversations with Angela about the whole events, and I said, there's no way I'm not going to be participating in any type of, it wasn't Rescue the Republic, it was Rage Against the War Machine. They had,
I remember that. Yep.
Eric Bolling was going to be the MC. And I was like, dude, he's a pro-Trump, pro-Zion. No way. Not doing it at the end of the day. So, I mean, I understand.
Well, the issue is a lot of this was built upon RFK Jr., right? That was the whole goal. RFK Jr., because he was the most popular independent candidate before he backed Trump. He was the most popular one. And if you remember, one of the reasons why I wanted Lars Mapstead to be the Libertarian candidate was because I told everybody RFK Jr. was going to suck all the money out from us. He was going to take all the money out. All the independents going to rush to RFK Jr. And they did. I mean, when you count the PAC and him, I mean, he's raised, what, $40 million, more, $50 million, something like that. Ton of money, right? No, that money would have gone to Jill Stein or Chase Oliver or Cornel West or somebody else. That money all went to him. He took all the money. So everybody thought, oh, he's the guy. Most people believed that he was going to go to the end and actually have a We the People party at the end and have another independent party that could be funded and we'd make things happen. And that's where all that began. What made everything go out of whack is once he went, I'm out. I'm not on Trump train. When he went in the Trump train, a lot of people had a lot of problems because a lot of people are very loyal to RFK Jr. And I mean, personally, many people are very loyal to him. And him saying vote for Trump, I mean, a lot of people go, but no, if I wanted Trump, I would have been in Trump train already. Well, now what do I do? And some people are listening to him and some people aren't, but they want to show up for him. The loyalty to RFK Jr. is very strong. You may not know that. I don't know how many supporters you know, but it's very strong and it's hurting them. They don't know what to do. They're like, do I do what he says or do I just vote for him or do I walk away? So these events are already made up and I'll go back to the same thing that people don't like to hear. Cash. Those events you pay up front. You put a lot of money into these events. So you're doing it. And if RFK says X, Y, and Z, then I guess we're doing what RFK says because we got to make sure this happens. So that also happens too.
So I don't know if you know this, but RT's syndicate channel, Rebel TV. Not
Mhm.
Rebel Media. It's not Rebel Media. I think it's Rebel TV or Rebel. No, Rebel TV is the one that Viva Fry does. Not that one, but the other one that had the Rick Sanchez show. Scotty Nell Hughes and Ben Swan was all forced to close down because of sanctions. Sputnik's holding by a thread right now. People don't think that they're going to be around. The stranglehold on YouTube has really forced a lot of other networks to close. TNT Media out of Australia has now closed. I'm going to look for a restaurant shop, right? We're talking about money over here. There's no more money. It's all dried up, getting censored left and right. They just pulled Mark Sloboda's YouTube, who was a contributor on RT and Sputnik. Rachel Blevins, who was a contributor on RT and had a show on Sputnik. My business partner, Fiorella Isabel, her channel got pulled on YouTube. What are we going to do to push back against the censorship? And also, finally, the last question after that, 2 questions, is if the Libertarian Party dropped the ball this time, what makes you confident they can do it in 2028 since they couldn't repair it this time? But start with the censorship issue that we have going on. I'm sure you heard about the Tenet Media thing.
No, I've been on them. I've been on everything you mentioned. I have been a guest on. So I know all of them. I know the hosts. I've been on all of those shows. And I agree. And I usually have to, they're not on YouTube. They're usually on like their own website or they're on Rumble. I think we have to go to other places, right? Every place I went this year when there was independent media in any way, one company was there every time. Rumble was there every time. And you're on Rumble, right? I'm on Rumble too.
So the finances aren't there. The money's not there.
Correct. The money only goes there when enough people go there, right?
Yes.
And Elon Musk is the right answer. That he now a lot of people don't like Elon. I get it, but Elon was the right answer. Elon buying Twitter is the model. That's the model. You have to be able to have something that is powerful, somebody or something that's powerful. Once that happens, others will begin to follow, right? Elon Musk started really rough. Now Twitter is doing decent. People care about it. It's now important. It's now valuable. People now want it now. Now, some group of people or individuals, or whatever the case may be, have to do that. Like a bunch of us have to all go on Rumble to where all our fans will come to when they can get money or something like that. That's the motto, is just do it without the others and just go. The problem, of course, is when it's an Elon Musk, he becomes individual. He decides what's right and what's wrong. That's not great.
Yes.
Right.
That's the problem.
Yes. But it is the bridge. He's the bridge. He isn't the final. He's not the final answer, but he's absolutely the bridge.
All right. Without insulting libertarians, but I'm going to just say this out loud. I don't understand how libertarians are so conscious of what the government's doing to you, but they can't see the government psyops coming. Elon Musk is a psyop. He was a defense contractor. He made most of his money through DARPA. I mean, this guy, and he couldn't find Venezuela on a map 3 months ago, and then he wouldn't shut up about it 2 months ago. Now it's become Trump's campaign platform.
Yep.
And we don't know. I mean, I don't think the answer is so much Elon Musk. I think the answer is transparency.
I literally said that's not the answer. I said he's the bridge.
Okay.
I said he's the bridge. He's not the answer. He's the bridge. That shows you that, okay, it can be done. Now people have to do it, right? Prior to Elon Musk, no one would even thought it could be done. Elon Musk did it. Okay, that's the bridge. Okay, there's that it can work. Okay, good. Now, hey, Craig, me and you, let's go do something big over here. Elon could do it. We can too. So he's the bridge. Let me answer if I could now, the Libertarian Party. I'm not sure they can, to be fair with you. They blew every single one that we've done. I'm not sure. Here's what I know. They're the only chance. If not Libertarian, then nothing. That is the answer. RFK Jr. proved that this year. If RFK Jr., a guy with Kennedy, the name Kennedy, and $20 million, if he can't make it to the finish line, it's Libertarians or nothing. So Libertarians will do it in 2028 or no one will. That's the answer. And I'm hoping that it'll be a good Libertarian. I will be trying to get the right person up there again, as I tried in 2024. Hopefully Libertarians have figured this out and don't screw it up and go, I want to fight culture war. It's more important, or whatever thing they decide, right? Hopefully they don't do that and go, wait a minute, we'd like to have somebody who could win. If they do that, we'll have a good candidate and we'll make impact. The goal for 2028 should be at a minimum what I thought it should have been this year, which is to win at least one electoral vote and to preferably win a full state and to finally get 5%. If those 3 things happen in 2028, there's no hyperbole in this. If those 3 things happen, the country will change because we'll have an actual third party for 30 and for 2032. If the Libertarian Party does it in 2028, those three things, electoral vote, a full state, 5%, if those three things happen, I'm not promising, but if they do, the country will actually change.
Maybe you should run for chair, Larry Sharpe. I can be your campaign manager when you run for chair. Ladies and gentlemen, Larry Sharpe is with us, Libertarian Party. Thank you so much for joining us on this historic day. You have a show later today, correct?
I do, about 8 p.m. this evening, if you want to watch, 8 p.m. ET.
Yes.
Larry Sharpe on YouTube, Larry Sharpe on all the things, Larry Sharpe on Twitter. I'm on everything. I'm the most popular Larry Sharpe in the country.
Who's going to be on today with you?
Just me, probably.
Just Larry. If you want more Larry, you need like cowbell. You need more Larry Sharpe in your life. Go get it. He's on YouTube for the time being.
Your best friend tomorrow. I'm sorry. Wednesday's your best friend's gonna be on. Tomorrow I'm gonna have Nico House. Wednesday I'm gonna have Dr. Mike Rechtenwald, your best friend, and then Friday I'm gonna have Nomiki Konst from Rising. So I got 3 good ones on this week.
That's a great one. Nico House. That's pretty good one. Nico House is my best friend. Listen, yes. I have nothing against Mike Rechtenwald. He just had that edible moment that really cost him. And I just think a lot of people have to understand that sometimes the guy who shows up and works the hardest, and that was Chase Oliver, he's going to win. He campaigned in 50 states. He won the debate. And yeah, obviously there was some animosity on the floor against the Mises caucus, but who knows? Hopefully we can fight through it. Larry Sharpe, ladies and gentlemen, special day. Pasta to go. We'll be right on back.